On the field. Off the field. Sports talk. Entertainment and more. This is Sauce on the Side.
Well, hello there, Dippers, and welcome back to episode 99 of the Sauce on the Side podcast. As always, Dippers, I'm your host, Drake, joined by the man, the producer, Mr. Leighton Pip Shaventone.
Ridiculous, you know what they say, legends never die.
That's true. Big Poppy, stay on top.
Can't kill him. Can't knock him down.
No, you can't. Dippers, in case you guys are wondering why this show is going to be aired on Tuesday, basically, Monday, what were we going to do? Take a guess on what the Raptors and Warriors were going to do? We weren't going to do that, so we went ahead and pushed it back an extra day. That way we could have some up-to-date coverage to talk about the remainder of the series or the end of the series. But, Leighton C., I think we got to start the show off with that.
Yeah.
Big Poppy.
Yeah, so people who don't know me probably don't know that David Ortiz is my favorite.
It's very apparent if they've listened to the show more than 3 times, they have heard you talk about Big Poppy being the GOAT.
I don't know. Because he's already retired before the show started. So
you mentioned it enough.
Yes, but they didn't get the full dose of the Poppy love here. So we all have fandom, but sometimes your fandom becomes like an emotional, I don't say a connection because they don't know who you are, but you're invested in that individual success. And to me, that was the David Ortiz. And probably favorite athlete ever.
Probably.
Greatest attacker of all time. Greatest player of all time. Yes, look at the numbers. Most clutch hitter ever. And on Sunday night, I get a call because I'm driving home from Indianapolis when this happened. I call from my sister. She says, David Ortiz got shot. I'm just like,
how many calls did you get in texts?
People I haven't talked to.
Wait a second. This is how much he is emotionally invested. People are checking on Leighton C's well-being. How many texts and calls do you think you got?
I got half a dozen instead of texting calls, but people I haven't talked to in months or longer. See, they just know I Big Poppy a whole lot. Text me and actually called me on the phone. Like, dude, you okay? Yeah, Justin, I'm fine, man.
I could make the argument that if you would have gotten hit by a car, there would have been less reaction to check to see if you were doing okay. Do you agree?
It's possible. It's possible.
Outside of family.
Okay.
You wipe family clean. Well, even your sister was checking on you, so your family even checked on you.
Yeah, no, it's a big deal. But so anyway, I get the phone call from my sister. Told me she got shot. First, it was reported in the leg. I guess she told me in the leg. And I got noticed because of that because, what was Washington's safety?
Sean Taylor.
He got shot in the leg, and he still died. So I was like, shit, he got shot. So now I'm driving on Twitter, just pushing the stream every, I want to say every 5 minutes, but I know it's every 30 seconds.
Yeah.
This homie else comes out, then he came out and he was, shot in the back and the video of it and all this crazy shit. And then I watched the video, and all of a sudden it hits me. My favorite baseball player got shot.
Yes.
It's nuts. And without David Ortiz, I would not like baseball. I like the Red Sox because one day I watched David Ortiz hit a walk-off home run. I was like, fuck yeah, I like this shit. Without Dave Ford, Red Sox fan, David Ortiz fan. And he walked today. So that's good. He took
he's
steps.
in Boston now.
Yep, the St. Louis Blues are definitely fucked. Because he's definitely going to walk out on the ice tomorrow before Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah, now Boston is now Team of Destiny.
Yeah, it's over. But yeah, I guess he's going to be okay. I hope he's walking.
No, it sounds, from all reports, it sounds that he's okay. The man does not need to leave Boston. The guy is loved in Boston. Nobody in Boston would think about hurting David Ortiz. So he just needs to stay there.
The thing is though, from what I've read and stuff, David Ortiz and Dominican Republic is like LeBron James and Akron. He is, above Pedro Martinez. He is, their god of athlete. He's always there something for the community and stuff. And the fact that happened is crazy. And now it's just coming out about how, he knew his life was in danger. And he still is going clubbing. And he's banging drug dealers, cartels, wives, or girlfriends. What a pimp, dude.
That's a fine line to walk on. I don't want him to go back.
No.
No, I don't.
No, fuck no.
No.
He took it back. They got shot.
Yeah.
The assassination attempt against his life in this place. You can't go back to that.
No, you absolutely cannot.
You come back from that. We can't go back to that.
Yeah. Not only your well-being, for Big Poppy's well-being, I'm glad that he's okay. This is rough.
It was rough. I had a rough weekend because of that. Other than that, it was a great weekend. Drake had a great weekend, except for one part that was kind of rough. And I've been dying to hear these details all weekend. So let's hear it.
Okay, so I went to the Bears' 100-year anniversary celebration, and I went up to Wrigley Field, got to watch the Cubs beat the Cardinals. That's always a good thing. Get to watch Javier Baez hit a home run. Just the normal stuff as a Bears-Cubs fan.
Did he pimp the home run?
Well, it was Javier Baez, dude.
So, yeah.
I don't even have to really announce that.
He probably hit it laying on his back.
Oppo Taco. It was a good time, all in all. Got to watch the UFC fights. Unfortunately, Cowboy Cerrone lost. Really, the reason why I went to the fights was to watch Cowboy. Also, Henry Cejudo won, so, it doesn't cure all, but it at least made things better. The Bears' 100-year anniversary. A big cluster. So, for an event that they would host at it was a pretty good-sized convention center. I'd say it's a very good-sized convention center. They sold 10,000 tickets for this thing. Just weekend passes, and they ended up capping the day passes, but they continued to sell weekend passes. Does that make any sense?
It does not.
It does not. If you have too many people for the day, why would you continue to sell weekend passes where people are allowed to come in on that day? So I come to this thing. At 9:30, Jim McMahon and Mitch Trubisky were set to take the stage. I get there at 9, wanting to be there for this. I want to watch Mitch Trubisky talk to Jim McMahon, like they're going to interview him. A lot of cool stuff happening at this thing. And then they even promoted it where you're getting all these autographs and everything was included. It sounded too good to be true. So I show up at 9, 30 minutes of leeway. There is a line that is 2 miles long. 2 miles. One lady went and dropped her husband off and clocked it on her car. How far it was? It was a 2 mile line. So, obviously I didn't make it in there in time.
Yeah.
For an event like this, that 10,000 people are coming in, how many entrances do you think you would have open for this thing?
10,000 people.
You would think that it would be like
a lot.
A lot, because you think about it. I know the United Center has at least 7 gates.
Yeah, so at least 6, 5 minimum. 5. We'll go 5.
2.
They had 2 doors open,
and one of them was because it was a catwalk. So they had 2 doors open to this thing. So I could either choose a line that was 2 miles long, or a line that went all the way from the convention center across the street on the catwalk into the parking garage, and it looped through the parking garage. So I get into this thing about an hour and a half after I jump into line. I go in. I obviously missed the Mitch thing. And I go up there and I'm like, okay, well, Jim McMahon starts signing autographs at 11. So I'm going to go jump in Jim McMahon's line. This is at 10 o'clock that I'm in line. Or at 10:30ish. Mm-hmm. Then I go over to the line. Somebody says, oh, well, do you have a scratch-off? I said, a scratch-off? I said, I got 6 emails about this thing, 0 about a scratch-off. Apparently, only a select number of people that came through the gate, I guess earlier than me, got scratch-off tickets. And on your scratch-off tickets, it had one spot that you scratch off, and it told you if you got like a free piece of memorabilia, which was like sunglasses, an apron, just junk, or you get an autograph from one of the players. So it's not like what they had portrayed to where you go in and you basically just hop in line and you get the autograph of the player that you want. I talked to a guy in there also who said that he had gotten a scratch off for Mike Ditka. He said he got 5 places away from Mike Ditka. They shut the autograph line down. Even though he got a scratch off that guaranteed him a thing with Mike Ditka. And the reason why I talked to this guy for so long was because I was in the pro shop for an hour and a half in line just waiting to buy my clothes. Seriously. You talk about a disaster, man. Like, don't get me wrong. It was really cool being in there. I got to see like Mike Singletary, Dick Butkus, Mike Ditka all on stage, like talking to each other. But what it was announced to be was definitely not what I ended up showing up to.
Yeah.
I didn't get a scratch-off ticket. I didn't even know scratch-off tickets were a thing. They sent me 6 emails to this thing. 6. And another reason why I knew that there were 10,000 people was because I was staying behind a season ticket holder who said that she had gotten emails about this thing, and they basically only told season ticket holders what was going on.
Oh, okay.
So I was bummed.
Yeah,
I spent a total. So my day. Oh, and also I showed up. It was supposed to go to 10 the first night, and I was just going to go the first night for like an hour and a half. After I got done with the Cubs game, just so I could go in and go ahead and buy my merchandise, get in, get out, and go on my merry way. I show up at 9 o'clock. They tell me that the venue's shut down. I'm like, what? I said, the thing says till 9. Nope. The thing says till 10 o'clock. Nope. 9 o'clock, they shut the doors down, did not let me in, even though the online thing said that it was going to be open for another hour. Had I been able to get in and get my stuff and, just be able to enjoy the next day, I would have been fine. But Bears 100-year celebration, it was really, really cool, so I still have to give it a 10 just because I'm a Bears fan. It was awesome. But they held a lot of stuff in the dark.
Yeah, so... Yeah, definitely, so, comparable in size to, I don't know, let's say the United Center. The Convention Center.
Much smaller.
How many can fit inside, do you think?
You could fit a ton of people in there. You really could, but they're going to be standing in line for a really, really long time.
It's how did it look at you getting in? So, were funneling people, was it an assembly line? Where people got funneled out at some point? Or at some point in time, could every person been in this one room?
Oh, everybody could have been in one room.
Okay. That's a horrible, horrible, horrible idea.
Yeah.
They need to be small about this and have not a weekend pass at all. You buy a ticket for one day. Okay, I've done this before. I've done things where people, businesses, artists, whatever, who put out things, and every different day, and you have a certain time, and each time is 2 hours. That's what they should have done. They should have had okay, we're gonna stack these so hour 1 has Mike Ditka, hour 2 has Jim McMahon, hour 3 has Mike Singletary. Get all of how the tier A through fucking D Bear player there. You go online, you buy your fucking tickets, you get there on that time. You're guaranteed in there for at least for 2 hours to buy stuff, meet people. That would have been such a better idea.
I have a better idea. You could have just capped the number at 5,000. Once 5,000 tickets are sold, you just say, okay, no more. You get the weekend pass or you don't get anything at all.
Yeah, it would have been a 1 mile line, a 45-minute wait. One guy might have met Mike Ditka.
Yeah, that guy, he would have met Mike Ditka.
You might have got a scratch off.
So this guy said that somebody almost got thrown out of the event the day before. It was because the guy flew from Florida to come to this thing. He flew from Florida to come to this thing. He got 2 people away from Mike Ditka and lost his marbles when he got up and left.
Oh my god. Maybe Mike Ditka just signing up for autographs.
I don't know.
mean, I've met Mike, great guy, but I don't know, man.
I don't blame any of the players. I don't blame any of the ex-players. I don't blame any of those people. I blame the people in charge for making it what it was. 10,000 people in a convention center in Rosemont, Illinois. Leighton C., you're from Illinois. Have you ever heard of Rosemont?
Is it a half hour northeast of Chicago?
It's west.
Okay, so...
You can't get any more east than Chicago.
Alright.
So
the northeastern,
no,
up there.
it was west side Chicago. Convention center, it would have been much better had they only had 5,000 people in there. I stayed in the line for a total of 3 hours that day.
How long were you actually at the convention besides staying in line?
So I was there from 9:30 to 2:30.
Okay.
Or I was there from 9 to 2:30. So you do the math. I was in line for 3 hours.
Yeah, that sucks. Because when you showed me the website, I was like, shit, if I was a Bears fan, I'd be all over this.
Yeah. It's almost too good to be true.
Yeah, well, but most things are, so.
Yeah. No, it definitely is. So, Leighton C., let's get to some basketball talk here. So The Warriors have found a way to bring it to 3-2 in Toronto despite losing both games in Oakland. First, wait and see. Has this been the most storyline-filled finals we've ever seen?
It has to be. So think about the last how many finals talking about LeBron James chasing Michael, trying to get his rings. Before that, it was the San Antonio Spurs just getting it over and over and over again. And those were the storylines, and those stay steady. In this finals, you have players getting hurt. You have where the guy predicted not play. You have stars getting hurt. And anything's happening, and it's always in the news. And basically, you're just waiting on SGC to find out will player X play tonight.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to go ahead and read off just some of the regular storylines. So, KD's hurt. KD comes back. KD gets hurt again. Those were all three stories in themselves. Klay Thompson gets hurt. Klay Thompson misses a game. Klay Thompson returns. Kevin Looney gets hurt. Misses a game. Kevin Looney returns. Kawhi Leonard is hurt at the beginning, and nobody knows how healthy he is, and people are still talking about whether or not Kawhi Leonard is hurt. Boogie was hurt to start. Boogie plays very, very sparingly. Boogie comes back, dominates. Boogie goes away. Drake's on the sidelines, doing what Drake does on the sidelines. Owners are pushing players. Raptors fans are booing or cheering whenever Kevin Durant gets hurt. We have so many storylines to this thing. It's unbelievable. We're going to hit most of the storylines. And one of the big storylines is how dominant the Raptors have been on the road in this series, been able to go 2-0 in Oakland. What have been the keys to the success for the Raptors on the road? So,
a big part is the Warriors not having Kevin Durant, obviously. Because look at all the scores, the game is super close, and you could easily say Kevin Durant makes up the difference in the 5 or 6 points they lost the games by. But look at the Raptors are doing. The Raptors are playing really, really, really good defense. The offense is struggling. They're just not letting the Warriors get the easy shots they like. And even the Warriors do get those easy shots. I say easy shots because Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, but they're not easy shots, but it's not going in. They're not going in. They're a hard time scoring points. When Klay Thompson missed game 2, Steph Curry had the best probably playoff game of his career. You thought, okay, they'll come back and they're going to win game 4. Win game 4 and then they'll be tied back to Toronto. That didn't happen. It's 3-1. But then they got out the win last night. So, I'm not sure what's going to happen with this series, but it's been a really fun thing to watch.
Yeah, and Fletch from Hump Day Hoops here, he actually texted yesterday and he said, guys, this reminds me of whenever the Pistons beat the Lakers. And the Raptors are bringing this sense of physicality with these guys that are kind of just dirt dogs, like Marc Gasol, Pascal Siakam, Ibaka, Van Vliet, Kawhi. They all have this gritty toughness where you look at the Warriors and they kind of have a bunch of faux tough guys with Draymond and Boogie who are just out there who are just more talk than just out there just being in your face with a physical presence. And the Raptors are kind of just beating them up. And if you look at what all these injuries by the Warriors, it kind of echoes that. I know that they're not out there trying to hurt the Warriors, but they're just bringing this sense of physicality that, hey, if you play us 5 games in a row, you're going to have some ducks fall. Because it realistically that's all they're doing. They're just out-manning them, out-physicaling them, I guess you would say, for lack of a better term. And it's kind of fun to watch because this brand of basketball has been lost in the sauce for the past 10 years.
Yeah, again, I think they're losing the series 3-2, and they're not scoring a ton of points in the game. That just echoes that. We haven't seen NBA Finals game in the low hundreds in forever.
Yeah. And this is what the Raptors have been doing. You talked about how in the Eastern Conference semifinals, you didn't think any of those games were good that the Raptors played just because the games were so low scoring. But really, it's just their brand of basketball, and we are not used to seeing this kind of basketball win.
Yeah. I mean, I still think they're a great game. These haven't been great games either. Last night's game, at the concert, the band I wanted to see happened to play before the headliner, so I got to watch the entire fourth quarter at the bar of the venue. So that was great to watch. That was great because the Warriors were up. New Orleans Kevin Durant could have Raptors clawed back. They did it back and forth at the end, so that was great.
Yes. Overall, it's been a really, really weird series for basketball in 2019. That's all I'll say with that. So, Kevin Durant made an attempt to come back in Game 5, ended up leaving with another injury, probably putting him out for the series. I don't... did they come out and confirm that it is an Achilles rupture today?
No.
Okay. So...
But it's believed to be an Achilles.
Yes, an Achilles rupture. A lot of people are speculating. If this is a serious injury now, how does this affect KD moving forward into free agency? And how does this affect the Warriors for the remainder of the series?
Okay, so I read something about this today. People have estimated 6 to 12 months to come back from Achilles tear. And the basketball player, that's devastating because you gotta run, jump, do super quick movements all the time. Especially with Kevin Durant, and your whole entire game is based around getting to the basket or just getting paid by jumping backwards. Terrell Suggs came back from this in 4 months. That's best case scenario, basically, for Kevin Durant.
He's not.
But he's not Terrell Suggs.
No.
Terrell Suggs is a bulldog.
Yeah.
And Kevin Durant is kind of a bitch.
Yeah.
So
I can't say that anymore. I don't think I can, because he came back and played actually really hurt.
I don't know. Was he really hurt? He was big dancing in the locker room before the game.
I know.
Okay, we've had injuries before, right? Do you just test those injuries out before the athletic event super hard for doing ridiculous things?
No.
No, you don't.
You save it.
You save it. You say, I'm going to stress this gingerly. If it hurts out there, hurts out there. I'm not going to risk hurting it before the game starts.
Yeah, that was so weird whenever I saw him dancing.
I don't think he was... I think that's bullshit.
Because he was killing him.
Yeah, he was on pace to score 44 points when he got hurt.
Yeah.
So, I think he was fine. Not fine, probably still a little sore, but I don't think it's bad as the thing is now. So basically now, what happens? He opt in to Golden State if it's a really bad tear or whatever.
He has to.
On every time he opt in. But, or the team still offer him max contracts. Think about other players who tore their Achilles. Boogie Cousins came back, has played really, really well. He just, Boogie Cousins, and turns the ball over and fouls and bad thing at bad times. And
yes. Like the last two, like his last two series on the court, goaltend and then offensive foul.
God, that's stupid. But then, Jake, who is the best scorer of the last generation? And what ruined his career?
Kobe Bryant, and it was an Achilles tear.
Ended it.
Yeah.
Virtually in his career. If I'm an NBA GM, I'm not offering him a max contract. I'm going to go after one of the lesser free agents that I'm going to get longer and I have a more sure thing for if I'm still on signing a max contract guy. So, I don't know what's going to happen. People seem to think he's going to get max offers still.
Oh, I think he will.
I think he will too, but I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, the Knicks have to be completely worried at this point just because, they thought Zion was a sure thing. Now they don't get Zion. KD was a sure thing. Well, now he tears his Achilles. Kyrie Irving was a sure thing. Well, now he's more interested in Brooklyn than you. So Knicks fans definitely have to be mad about this. But I think if I were to guess how this is going to pan out, I think that he's going to take that 1-year deal for the Warriors and be in absolutely no rush to come back, because if all he has to do is ink the deal and he'll be back on a player option, which is worst case scenario for the Warriors. And then if he does fully recover by the end of the season and he just wants to go ahead and sit it out, play the Kawhi Leonard thing, he just got a $31 million paycheck just to basically hang around and be in the locker room.
You know, if I'm him, I would opt in.
Because if you were him, why would you go somewhere else and rehab at a place that does not know you?
Like this.
You want to go wherever they know, where everybody knows your name. Basically like Cheers.
Yes, it will suck if he... Okay, so if he opts in, I think it's more likely he doesn't play a game next season than does.
Absolutely.
Because he's not going to go out there and basically look bad if he's still injured.
Yes.
I don't think he plays next year if he opts in. But I think he will go somewhere else still.
Yeah.
And even after the game last night, they're talking about Kevin Durant. They said, quotes, he's a great player. Any team would be lucky to have him. Any team lucky to have him. They know he's gone still, I think.
Yeah. Especially with the way that one of the guys was crying at the podium. Definitely not a good look. Mm-hmm. And the fact that the three people that were in the locker room, Kevin Durant, his agent, and the general manager.
Yep.
They said that was it.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was really weird, especially that they went ahead and announced that. Another storyline, we could basically talk about this finals all day. Mark Stevens, part owner of the Warriors, pushes Kyle Lowry in Game 3 when Kyle Lowry went out of bounds to save a ball. Is the 1-year suspension and $50,000 fine enough of a punishment?
No. It should be a lifetime ban. That's what
Yes.
any fan would have got.
If
That's what
any
any
pushes,
fan would have got.
yes,
Period. It should be a lifetime ban.
there's a guy. In
I don't
Utah-
care. Don't even fine him. Just fuck it. Just make him sell his shirt to the team. Because NBA, because these organizations can force you to do that. Do a lot of stealing. And then lifetime ban.
Yes, yes, Donald Sterling. That is the perfect example. You know, like this is just speculation here. Like if this guy, like Donald Sterling, wasn't even crazy enough to go out there and push one of the players, and we know how big of a lunatic he is. This guy is out there pushing players. There's no telling what this guy is saying to other people behind closed doors that Donald Sterling was saying. You know, I'm not trying to compare those two at all, but just, you know, if you just think about it, you know, one was behind closed doors, one is out in front of basically millions of people, thousands of cameras. Well, what is that guy doing behind closed doors? It's kind of eye-opening whenever you kind of put those two in a comparison. And, you know, any fan goes out there and pushes Kyle Lowry, you are banned for a lifetime.
Yeah, you're not going to any NBA game ever. Your kids can't even go to NBA games.
Yes, no, your great-great-grandson might be able to sit in the nosebleed section, you know, 100 years from now.
Yeah, and if you're the majority owners of the Warriors, you can't let him stay there still. You gotta push him out. Cause think about this, like, I work for a company that has an organizational president. The president sets the example for every other employee and what they should look like. And whenever, let's say the president is pushing people around, that looks terrible. You can't have that being at your business. Like, the majority owners have to get him out.
Yes, I 100% agree. I think that if this guy has anything less than a lifetime ban and being forced to sell his team, I think it's a terrible look on the NBA. Because, you know, he went out of his way to push Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, no,
it's not
he
like
didn't
Kyle
have
Lowry
to.
fell into his lap and like he tried to get himself away. Like, this is just completely inexcusable. You could come up with, you know, a lot of things you can say. Well, you know, I did it because of this. This was completely obvious that this guy was just mad that his team was getting beat. And of all people to push Kyle Lowry, Kyle Lowry's going to help you win this series, man. Like, that's mind-boggling to me.
Like, you want them all in Kyle Lowry's hands at all times right now.
Yes, you want to. If you could do anything, you just say like play through Kyle Lowry. If you're the Raptors, you know, and this guy is trying to take Kyle Lowry out, which obviously isn't going to help his team win.
No.
So wait and see. We have potentially 2 more games. Who wins this series and why?
I think it'll be Toronto in 7 games.
I do too.
Warriors winning that last game was absolutely huge for them because they didn't have Kevin Durant. Yeah, he played.
If Kevin Durant didn't play though the entirety of the game, there's no way they'd have won.
No, absolutely right. But still, for the last 2.5 quarters, they didn't have him. They picked the nuts off the floor and they won in Toronto. Huge step for them. I think they will win tomorrow night. When do they play again? Thursday? Thursday? God, so far away. So in 2 days, they play again. I think they will win that game. And then Toronto will win that game on Father's Day, on Sunday.
Yes, it is.
Okay, I think Toronto will take down home back in Canada, back in the home country, and win the game 7.
Yeah, I do too. I think that the Raptors are going to win in 7. And I think it's, you know, they're not going to lose another game at home like they did Game 2. Game 2, it took a 20-0 run for this team to lose. Had Iguodala not made that 3, this series would be over. This series would probably be over because the Raptors were up 3-1. The only game that they lost, they gave a 20-0 run to the Warriors, and had that not happened, they would have walked away with this finals. So I don't see them losing that way again, especially with a guy like Kawhi Leonard on the court, basically doing what he does. We've seen him at the end of Game 7s. He can make those shots to put the team over the top. So wait and see. Finals MVP. You think it's going to be Kawhi?
It has to be. If Raptors win, it has to be Kawhi.
I 100% agree. You know, and people are thinking that people are wanting to go out and compare LeBron to Kawhi, but really they haven't. This series, if Kawhi ends up outscoring Steph Curry by more than 2.5 points per game over the remainder of the series, Kawhi will lead this series in points, rebounds, and steals.
That's impressive.
For all players.
It's impressive.
That's very impressive. That's LeBron type stuff.
It's LeBron
I'm
type
not saying
stuff.
he's LeBron, but that's LeBron type stuff.
So we're saying you think Kawhi might be a little like LeBron?
Right now, yeah, you'd almost have to say he's a little bit like him. He's not LeBron, but he's inching his way.
Any more thoughts for us?
Yes, I do.
It was all a dream. I used to read Run Up magazine.
Leonard to Van Vliet. Van Vliet passes it to Kyle Lowry in the corner. Kyle Lowry to win a title for the Raptors in the first time in their career. Blocked. Have you seen a more Kyle Lowry play? Kawhi Leonard, board man. Kyle Lowry, backside of the board man. DeMar DeRozan, sacrificial lamb. You may want to call Frank Vogel and give him a heads up of what it feels like to be a sacrificial lamb now that Jason Kidd and Lionel Collins are on his staff. Had Kyle Lowry's 3 went in, Boogie Cousins' last 2 plays in a Warriors uniform would have been a goaltend and an offensive foul. Spoiler alert, Kyle Lowry's last second shot was never going to go in. Boardman gets paid. For everyone wanting to put an asterisk on the Raptors and what they are doing, just remember, the first Warriors title had Tristan Thompson and Amon Shumpert as the second and third minute getters on the opposing teams. And nobody cares. Kevin
People
Durant,
forget that.
Huh?
People forget that.
People
one.
do forget that. Tristan Thompson and Amon Shumpert. This team's second minute getters like Draymond Green and Kyle Lowry, and Klay Thompson. So,
Boogie Cousins out there somewhere.
yeah, Boogie Cousins out there somewhere. Kevin Durant, in the locker room after the game, was apparently only joined by the general manager and his agent, KD, probably inking that player option in there. How dare the Raptors fans cheer when the guy who's about to crush their dreams went down with an injury? Toronto fans are just like you. Mark Stevens, pushing Kyle Lowry during the NBA Finals, and it's a 2-minute ESPN story. Drake gives Nick Nurse a back rub, and it was the talk of the Eastern Conference Finals. Interesting. Boogie Cousins, 10th man of the year. Blues, Bruins, as Leighton C says, it all goes through Beantown. Let's not forget the Warriors blew a 3-1 lead. Kawhi, Leonard, buzzer beater, 4 hits, off the rim, Game 7, book it. And there's a new book out this week. It's called The World's Corniest Man. And it was written by the Triple C, Henry Cejudo. And those have been my thoughts. So Leighton C, Team USA training camp. It is announced who the preliminary players are going to be. So let's start off with the guards. Bradley Beal, Eric Gordon, James Harden, Damian Lillard, Kyle Lowry, CJ McCollum, Donovan Mitchell, and Kemba Walker. What do you think about that group of guards?
First off, holy shit, the Olympics are a year away.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. It's going to happen. So, the group of guards, I think they did fine. Pretty solid group of guys. Basically missing Steph Curry. We're the only big guy missing.
Yeah.
Westbrook's not playing. But got James Harden, league MVP, Damian Lillard, Bradley Beal, Kemba Walker, top 5 point guard in the league. I think guards are doing great.
Oh, yeah. We're off to a hot start.
Yep.
I really think that, you look at the guards, and you have a lot of specialty guys, too.
Mm-hmm.
You don't just have, we're just going to get a lot of good players like Damian Lillard, James Harden, phenomenal talents. And then you kind of have guys like Eric Gordon, you know what he is and you know what you're going to get from him. Bradley Beal, same type of guy. And then Kemba Walker and Donovan Mitchell. You have a lot of guys that can do certain things well whenever James Harden and Damian Lillard aren't taking over the game. So this is where things get a little weird, in my opinion.
Yep.
We're going to go to the bigs. So you have Harrison Barnes, who's basically the new Melo, who's going to be on every Olympic team for the remainder of his career, and that's what he's going to be famous for. Anthony Davis, Andre Drummond, Tobias Harris, Kyle Kuzma, Brooke Lopez, Kevin Love, Chris Middleton, Paul Millsap, Jason Tatum, PJ Tucker, and Miles Turner. Those round out the forwards. Leighton C. What do you think about the bigs on this?
So this is when you realize that the best players in the NBA are forwards, and they're all either and done this before, want to rest their bodies, hurt, or from other countries.
Yes.
This week, because you have Anthony Davis and Andre Drummond. Andre Drummond's a very underrated player. Good every single year. Great rebounds, great defense. Brooke Lopez blocked a shot in 600 games this year. fantastic year, can shoot ball from 3 now, and probably have an okay Olympics if he gets to play.
Dude, he's going to kill in the Olympics if he gets to play.
Tobias Harris disappears full of all-stars, but still a good player. Miles Turner, rim protector. But then you got Harrison Barnes, who hasn't gotten any better in 5 years. Kevin Love, who gotten worse over the past 2 years. Chris Middleton, who I guess is good because he plays with Giannis. Paul Millsap, who I thought was hurt all year. Jason Tatum, PJ Tucker. PJ Tucker's the one, man.
PJ Tucker really threw me off. Like
PJ Tucker.
Whenever I saw the lineup, I thought, shit, when did Mike D'Antoni become the coach of Team USA? Turns out he's still not. But you look at this roster with the bigs, it's kind of a head scratcher. I'm gonna call the forwards a year too early and a year too late, because Jason Tatum, Kyle Kuzma, and Miles Turner, those are fine players. But I feel like we're a year too late, or a year too early on all those guys saying that, hey, these guys are going to be, they're going to be ready by 2020 Olympics and be, these dominant forces out there. Year too late, guys. You have Anthony Davis. He's been battling injuries. You don't get me wrong, Anthony Davis is still a top 5 player in the NBA, but even this year he was missing time, being hurt. Paul Millsap, a year too late. Brook Lopez is really the only guy who's just now hitting stride, and he's 33 years old.
Yeah.
So that's kind of weird. A little side note. Did you realize that PJ Tucker did not play in the NBA? He played some games whenever he was 22, 21. He did not officially start making it in the NBA until he was 27. He played he played 14 games 1 year whenever he was 21, 22, and then went overseas for quite a few years. Did not come back until he was 27.
I did not know that. I thought he was 26 years old right now.
No, he's 33 years old.
Holy shit! Yeah, okay.
Because he had that run with the Suns, and now he's on the Rockets. He was 27 years old whenever he got signed by the Suns and started playing.
I did not know that.
That's pretty crazy.
I guess he does look fucking old, I guess, but I figured that's how you look. He's 26, 27.
Yeah, well, because he's only been around.
Sometimes guys just look old.
Yeah, he's only been around for 6 years, so you just assume that he's that young.
He's older than Kevin Durant.
Yeah. He's 2 years younger than LeBron.
Okay. Crazy.
That's definitely crazy. So how does this team stack up against rosters we've seen in the past?
So I just went back through every team, and in 2008, they didn't win gold this year. You can start getting okay, this team I compete with this team. But you think about it, you have prime Melo, Chris Bosh, Kobe Bryant, Dwight Howard, LeBron James, Chris Paul, Jason Kidd, and Dwayne Wade. Okay, they're getting toasted.
Yeah, they get.
Then you go to 04 with the bronze team. It's okay. You have a very right now too young. LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, they're both rookies. Too old. You got Sean May and Lamar Odom on him, and Amari Stoudemire. That team got bronze. They were led by Tim Duncan and Allen Iverson. I feel like this team would beat that team, so I'm gonna put them somewhere between 08 and 04.
See, I just had to look back from 2012's roster, 2016's roster, and then compare it to what they have today. In 2012, you had LeBron, Kobe, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, CP3, Anthony Davis.
Mm-hmm.
That's elite talent. That's 7 guys deep of elite talent. And then you go to 2016 where they have Kevin Durant, Paul George, Klay Thompson, Melo, Kyrie. I'm willing to say that 2 of those guys on that team were better than anybody on this team. So it's kind of weird, especially that team only won 2 of their games by 3 points apiece. I think they may be in a little bit of trouble. Just because, in the simple fact of this, I want United States to dominate every single time. Obviously, if you don't want the United States to dominate, you're obviously not American. You obviously root for a different team. That team had just guys that would go out there and dominate games. You had a Kevin Durant who was shooting 58% from the field, 58% from 3. He was scoring 19, 5 rebounds, 3.5 assists per game. He was dominating, 58% shooting. And you are not going to have this on the roster, and that team only won 2 of their games by 3 points. I'm a little worried. I'm a little worried. The only thing that I could say is maybe this team's going to try harder because you have a lot of really unproven guys, and maybe, just the simple fact that they're trying harder and having to put some extra effort into it to kind of get their names out there is is what I'm going to hope is the best case scenario for this team. But I am very, very nervous going into this.
Well, see, the good thing, NBA is a 3-point lead. We got a lot of good guards on the team.
Yes.
That's coming in strong. But I think they're going to win. I think they'll dominate still. It'll be fine. No worries. Because NBA right now overall is better than it's ever been. And basically, Americans are still a large part of the best athletic people in the world.
Yes.
So, on the, A tier NBA guys, we got some B and C tier guys, but they're still some of the best players in the world. So, I think it'll be okay.
Yeah, I definitely hope. Especially that they have a year to prepare. I hope this thing goes well. I just thought that the roster was very, very weird. But we'll see how it pans out. Maybe Brook Lopez finds his stride and just continues to dominate.
I think I did see earlier that Mike D'Antoni is actually on the coaching staff of this team.
Oh, I think he's on the coaching staff, but he's not the head coach. Whenever I saw 3 Rockets on here, I was like, yep, he's got to be the head coach.
Actually, no, he's not on at all.
He's not on. Wow.
Jay Light, Steve Kerr, Lloyd Pierce,
Can you believe that Jerry
Popovich is the head coach, and Colangelo is the director.
Can you believe that Jerry Colangelo is still the director of this thing?
It's weird, kind of. That
It's very
he's
weird.
old as fucking dirt.
Well, and what had happened, what transpired over the last year,
Oh, yeah.
I feel like that's a very, very weird thing, and it's not going to get talked about at all.
No.
No. Burner accounts are just the new thing for the NBA. So, Latency, it is our time to play darts. Each week we play darts. Latency, what game do you have for us today?
We did the last time we had a 2-person show. So we don't have any NFL talk this week, and Drake loves the NFL. We're going to do Drake on the Fly with NFL questions.
Pew, 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 pew. We're playing darts, baby. Okay, so this is like Fletch on the Fly. Basically, Latency is going to bring NFL questions to me, and I don't know any of the questions. So, Drake on the Fly.
Drake, first question. Carson Wentz is signed a humongous deal. Third high paid quarterback in the league. Haven't played a full season ever. Realized going to the hospital, get the free meds. Wentz career, over under 1.5 Super Bowls.
Do we count the one that he got
No,
on the bench?
that does not count. He wins. He's 1.5. He has them 1.5.
I don't think he'll ever win a Super Bowl.
You don't think so?
No. I'll tell you why. Him as the starting quarterback, that means he has to be healthy for 16 games.
Mm-hmm.
Correct? That's a tall tale to say that this guy's going to be healthy for 16 games. Basically, his NFL career, he has spent the last part of the season on the... and I do not wish that he gets hurt. Don't get me wrong. He spent the last part of the season on the injured reserve in the last 2 seasons. And in college, it was basically the same thing. Whenever he was at North Dakota State, he actually was on... He had actually gotten hurt during one of their title runs. So you look at this guy's last 4 or 5 years playing football competitively. He spent a majority of every single one of those seasons on the injured reserve. I think it's 3 of his last 5 seasons he's been hurt. So you boil it down, this guy's basically going to be playing in the later part of the year in about half of his seasons that he's going to play in the NFL. I don't know if that's going to be sustainable to win a Super Bowl. We've seen a guy like Peyton Manning who really only had 1 career injury that had put him on the shelf for the latter part of the season or the entirety of the season, and he was only able to muster up 2 Super Bowls. Mm-hmm. So you think best case scenario, this guy is 3/4 of the way as good as Peyton Manning, and he was only able to win 2 Super Bowls. I know we're about to have a change of the tide with Peyton Manning with Tom Brady going out, getting older. But you look at other quarterbacks that are young in the NFL. Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes, Mitch Trubisky. Mitch Trubisky's not a great quarterback. He's not the Patrick Mahomes of the world, but he's in a much better situation right now than what you would have in Philly. I know that Philly won the playoff game last year, but that was also with Nick Foles, who Nick Foles has kind of proven himself to be a good quarterback when it comes into the postseason. I just think that he's going to have a tough time, especially being in a division with the Cowboys. I don't think the Cowboys are great, but they're not getting any older. That team is not I think Carson Wentz will be very, very fortunate to win one Super Bowl in his career as a starting quarterback. Now, if he stays healthy for the remainder of his career, yeah, you can pencil him into 1. 2 is a completely different realm. You're looking at guys around the NFL. Drew Brees has not won 2 Super Bowls. Big Ben's won 2 Super Bowls. Tom Brady's won 2 Super Bowls. I think those are really and Eli Manning's won 2 Super Bowls. We don't know how it happened, but he did. I think those are the only 3 guys in the NFL that have won 2 Super Bowls that are still playing.
All right, so under 1.5 Super Bowl when Carson Wentz is what all that was about. Next question.
I have to explain myself.
You do. I appreciate the explanation. I was hoping you were going to give you something other than just under 1.5.
Under.
Yep. So, next question. A lot of shit happens in one offseason. People get traded, people get signed. 254, 56 for how many draft picks. Drake follows all very closely. Probably anybody that I know. So, Drake, which team has had the worst offseason?
Ooh. The worst offseason. There's a lot of bad teams that have had bad off seasons.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tell you a team that I think on paper had a phenomenal off season. If you just look at talent acquired, but I think all they did was tread a lot of water, and that's going to be the Ravens. So what they did is they went out and they spent money on a running back that's on the backslide of his career. Once you get 30, those guys never really get better. They let the heart and soul of the defense. I know that physically he is not the player that he was 10 years ago, but you have a guy who knows what you're wanting to do on defense, and Terrell Suggs, and you basically just let him walk. That's not good. I know that I can't be the guy who says, "Oh, you didn't get younger at this position," and then come back and say, "Well, you let a veteran walk." So I don't like that. That's not the scenario. I think that if you're looking at a team that's going to regress a lot, I think that it is the Ravens, even though on paper everything that they did looks to be the right move. There's no way that this is sustainable with Lamar Jackson. They did go out and get him some pieces at wide receiver. All that's fine. But just what they've spent money on in the offseason, I don't necessarily love it. A team, though, if you say one team had the worst offseason with talent that left, has to be the Steelers. I mean, you had Le'Veon Bell, you had Antonio Brown. I do think that this team's not going to really regress that much, losing those pieces, because it's going to be additions by subtraction. But if you look at teams that just lost a lot of talent, you have to look at the Steelers and say, you lose 2 guys who are top 20 players in the NFL any day of the week. That is the worst. That is one of the worst off seasons. And I definitely don't like what the Raiders did. Whenever you talk about teams that are bad, going to stay bad, the Raiders, the Giants, those teams did not help themselves at all. So yeah, I would say just by talent lost, Steelers, I don't think it's going to affect them that much. Just a team that went out and got that acquired a bunch of pieces that I don't think is going to necessarily work. You got to talk about the Ravens. Also the Texans. They really just treaded water. All they did was get offensive linemen who aren't going to be ready to play, even though Deshaun Watson set a sack record last year since 2012. So, all those teams, bad off seasons.
They could have Taywan Taylor.
Yes, they could have. They definitely could have had Taywan Taylor. That would have helped that team out tremendously.
As to the Texans, they didn't get a deal done with Clowney. Hadn't yet to sign his franchise tender. But see what happens with that.
Le'Veon Bell 2.0.
Now that he knows he can get his money still, we'll see what actually happens.
Yes, the groundwork has been set for him to do this.
Le'Veon Bell sacrifices everybody else's gain.
That's exactly the truth.
He's the savior of the NFL teams. All right. Similar question. Who is a dark horse Super Bowl champion? And by dark horse, I mean a team that was a wild card or worse last season.
Ooh. I mean, the obvious answer is the Browns. I mean, that's an easy...
yeah.
But I'm not going to take the easy way out, because Baker Mayfield, he's a quarterback that you have tape on now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he's a quarterback you have tape on. He made a play to kind of end the Browns' chances last year. And it was a play that was obvious that the team had scouted for. I think it was actually Terrell Suggs who saved the season. He stepped in, acted like he was going to blitz, read Baker Mayfield's eyes, knew exactly where the ball was going, stepped back, intercepted it. Brown season's over. Mm-hmm. So as the season progressed, they started to catch up on things with the tape. One team, let me think. I'm going to give you one that you're probably going to call me crazy on.
I do that often, so let's hear it.
I don't know if it's a Super Bowl contender, but it's a team that's going to make some noise, and that's the Jets. The Jets acquired a lot of talent in the same way that the Ravens did, but they didn't have talent to begin with. So now that they have talent, can they make it work? You look at a guy like Sam Darnold, who was the youngest starting quarterback in NFL history just a year ago when he started. At the end of the season, I think it was either the last five, 6, or 4. I can't remember. I think it was 5. Last 5 weeks of the NFL, he had the highest pro football focus grade of all quarterbacks. You think about the season he had last year, a lot of people said that it wasn't a success. So for a guy to play that good at the last 5 weeks of the season just tells you how good he got as the season progressed. You look at now that they have a Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell is a phenomenal running back. Hopefully Adam Gase, if he is who everybody thinks he is except me, he's going to be able to put him in positions to succeed. They finally have offensive talent around Darnold. So you think about what he was throwing to last year was basically Robbie Anderson and nothing else. They actually brought in some position players that can benefit him more. I still think Sam Darnold was the best quarterback out of that draft class, so I think he's going to progress more than what you saw Baker do last year. If you think about Sam Darnold's last season at USC, he really took a step back from what he was that first season as the starting quarterback for USC. At the end of last season, he was kind of what he was that sophomore year at USC. So I think that if you're looking for a team that is an absolute dark horse, a team that was picking in the top 10 of the draft, you have to say the Jets. I don't know if it's a Super Bowl contender, but it's a team that can make the postseason and maybe go on a little bit of a run.
All right, so the Jets are the dark horse good team of this year's NFL season.
Yeah, I think that a lot of, and I can't say a Super Bowl team, because I think this year is going to be a lot of what we saw last year. Like the good teams are going to be good, the bad teams are going to be bad. But if you're looking for a team that could really take a step in the right direction, you have to look no further than the New York Jets, even though we laugh at them every single time they do anything.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that means they're going to fly.
Okay, yeah, I really like doing that. You said no NFL news. There was one NFL news that I had to add within the last couple hours. The Raiders are announced that they are the Hard Knocks team. They listen to the Saucy Pod. They know what's up. Wait and see. How much do you love that move?
I'm so excited for this now.
I am so excited. I will watch Hard Knocks.
This is perfect. This is the dream scenario for TV right here.
Yes.
Real reality TV is about to happen when Antonio Brown, John Gruden on the TV set on the same team.
Richie Incognito.
Working together.
Vontez Perfect.
Fuck, yes.
This is why Hard Knocks was made.
This right here.
This here is why Hard Knocks is a thing. So, wait and see. It is time for our shittiest take of the week. Each week we listen to a lot of sports radio. We watch a lot of television. Wait and see. What's the shittiest take of the week? You started laughing as soon as I said this.
I was just thinking back to the Raiders and Hard Knocks thing. Imagine the meeting when they decided this. Alright guys, what's the biggest shit show eligible this year? Well, our shit show meter shows 1,000 for the Raiders and 45 for the 49ers.
Yeah, this was a layup.
So they called the Davises, or what's the son's name? I don't know his son's name. Alright, listen, Mr. Davis. Biggest show in the league. Has to be you. Yeah, fine, let's do it.
You know what I'm excited for?
Yeah.
I hope Richie Incognito gets cut on Hard Knocks.
Oh, yes.
If he gets cut on Hard Knocks, that will be the highest growth. More people will watch that than what they tuned in for the last show of Game of Thrones.
It would be way better than the episode Ocho Cinco got cut.
Yeah, this will be good. This will be good. So, wait and see. What is your shittiest take of the week?
It's going to come from our good friend Colin Cowherd. This happened...
He's always good for this.
This was like last Tuesday or Wednesday. It happened a while ago, but I've been saving for this now. Colin, over the past, couple of weeks, past this summer, probably signed his 13-year deal. He's really come out and really hated on these contracts, saying about how back the last 3 or 4 years, you're wasting money on a guy who got every past his prime, past his peak, all this stuff, how he'd never do it, blah, 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 blah. Well, last week, the Phillies signed Jay Bruce, who is a left-handed, power-hitting outfielder, just like Bryce Harper. Colin Cowherd had the nerve to put this on his "Where Colin Was Right" section of his show, and said that he was right, saying that the Phillies messed up on this contract 2 months into the season, 2 months into the first year of the 13-year deal, because they signed Jay Bruce. He said that, what did I say? Bryce Harper, a lot of money, might not be worth it right now. Everybody knows Bryce Harper is currently batting .251, 356 OBP. He's tied for 64th in home runs with 11, tied for first in strikeouts with 85, had a pretty piss poor season, not with many right now. Colin Cowherd believes that the signing of Jay Bruce was to move Bryce Harper out of Philadelphia. Colin does not understand the economics of baseball whatsoever. Or anything about baseball, apparently, because the contract is for, like, what, $330 million?
Over 13 years.
Yeah, 13 years. One, you can't trade that because you gave him the contract, and it's Bryce Harper. I can't show a whole lot of time saying I think he's overrated. I think he's a good power hitting lefty back to be in your lineup. Not paying that much money. But he could potentially be great. So you can't trade him. You're not going to get what you think he's worth. And you can't trade for him for the same reason. So Bryce Harper would not be traded within this season or next or next or next or next. If he's 31 years old and playing really good and the Phillies hasn't done anything wrong for the next 5 seasons, can't put anything around him, maybe he gets traded in 5 years.
I love that as soon as Jay Bruce gets signed, that Colin was just sitting there just at the TV like, I knew it. This is the writing on the wall. They're going to just put Jay Bruce out there, put Bryce Harper and $330 million on the bench. I was right.
I will say within the...
How would you consider yourself right just because they signed Jay Bruce? Like, teams do this all the time. Teams bolster up their lineups so they have a bat on the bench just in case, Or, hey, we need to platoon some guys. Like, Bryce Harper's not going to be the guy that's sitting out to give Jay Bruce hit reps in the lineup.
Yeah.
That's just not going to happen.
However, in 1 week with the team, Jay Bruce had 4 home runs and like a 1,200 slug OPS. So that's awesome. But no, they're not phasing out Bryce Harper, bringing in Jay Bruce. 2 months into the first year of the $13-year, $300 million deal.
Hey, we can't necessarily say that.
We can't necessarily say that, but damn, that's fucking bold.
That is bold. So mine, I said I promise you Skip Bayless takes until the end of the postseason, and I have another one. So, Game 3 of the NBA Finals, no Klay Thompson. Skip Bayless tweeted, "People have been arguing that Steph has a chance to prove he's a top 10 player, which guys won 2 MVPs. I think everybody just goes ahead and accepts the fact that you're a top 10 player if you're within 5 years of winning 2 MVPs back-to-back, one being unanimous. Skip, I didn't even see a top 30 last night. So Skip Bayless did not see a top 30 player whenever Steph Curry scored 47 points. He had 7 assists and 8 rebounds. He was 6 of 14 from 3 and 14 of 31 from the field. He shot 45% from the field, 42% from 3, and made 13 of 14 free throws.
Not top 30.
Not a top 30 player. What 29 guys, what 30 guys in the NBA are you going to find that can put together a stat line like that? I'll tell you a couple, especially in the playoffs, especially in the finals. You're going to have a LeBron James. You're going to have a Kawhi Leonard. You're going to have a Kevin Durant if he's healthy. And then nobody else. Yes, Steph Curry. He's the guy that did it. I mean, seriously, 45% shooting is phenomenal for a guard. Like, everybody goes crazy, especially whenever 42% is from the three-point line.
Yeah.
So, to say that a guy who goes, like, 47, 8, and 7, and goes 13 of 14 from the line is not a top 30 player on that night, you gotta be crazy.
No. Skip just keeps getting better and better.
How many guys in the NBA do you think would legitimately do that in a finals game? You might have a Paul George do something crazy one night.
Like 10 maybe? Maybe 10. Like the team's best player might do that?
Yeah. Maybe.
Some teams 3.
I don't even know if Damian Lillard's done that this postseason.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll go with 7 or 8. I can probably see 7 or 8 guys do something like that. But that's 7 or 8 out of 30, so you have 23 other options.
Yeah, he has 30 guys that he could name that were better than what Steph Curry was when he scored 47 points on 45% shooting, 8 rebounds, 7 assists.
In the finals game to keep your team alive on the road.
Yes.
And in the entire country that wants a team to win.
Yes.
Yep, okay.
Makes a lot of sense.
Nope, doesn't.
Especially on an elite defender like Fred VanVleet.
Yep.
I think this is where we can say where Skip was wrong.
Skip was wrong
This segment was where Colin was right and where Skip was wrong.
Alright.
I love those guys. They need their show together.
They could on the same network. Man, imagine having Skip on Colin's show. Because, like, you know, every day Colin brings on 1 or 2 guests because it's like a freaking 3-hour show.
You know what I need?
Just put Skip in one of those chairs.
You know how like Colin Cowherd is like the biggest Eagles guy. Like whenever you hear him talk and like they're actually having success, and he says that Carson Wentz is just so phenomenal. I need him talking about why the Eagles are good and Skip talking about why the Cowboys are good. Just going head to head.
Oh yes, that'd be great.
Yeah, that's what dreams are made of. So, Leighton C, it is time for our MLB chatter. So, last week, we hit the nail on the head. We knew that these guys would be signed soon.
Mm-hmm.
Dallas Keuchel, Craig Kimbrell, last week, we discussed them both, pretty lengthy. This week, they're signed. So, we'll start off with Dallas Keuchel first. Signed a 1-year deal worth $13 million with the Atlanta Braves. First things first, does this make the biggest asshole in the world, Scott Boras, for having him turn down the $17.9 million qualifying offer in November from the Astros?
Yeah.
Has to be.
Yeah, because it's almost $5 million you tell your client not to take. Because you can get him $70 million more overall, and then you wait quarter of a season, come out. Oh, well, actually, Dallas, we're going to get you less than what I said.
Yeah, especially that they were, it's been reported that he had him basically throwing live games at the Scott Boras training facility. It's not...
They call it Boras Corp, I think.
Boras Corp?
Yeah.
So it's not like the dude had a vacation and saved himself $5 million or lost $5 million. The guy was working full time and just happened to miss out on $5 million.
Yeah, it could happen.
And he goes to a worse situation with the Braves than what he would have with the Astros.
Yeah.
And has to move his family and everything.
Yeah. Good job, Scott.
Yes.
Shit the bed. Hard.
So right now, I believe the Braves are within a game of the NL East lead. Does this make the Braves the team to beat in the NL East?
I think so. I kind of think they already were, just because the Phillies have too many question marks for me. Jake Arrieta's not pitching with a damn right now. I can't see that game much better as the season goes on. I think the Braves a matter of time until they got together on the pitching side of things, because the bats are doing good. They're just lacking home runs right now. But Dallas Keuchel, he's a guy who's won a World Series, won a Cy Young Award, he's a veteran. He knows how to prepare himself for big games, how to prepare himself mentally, physically. He could go in and go replace Kevin Gausman or Mike Foltynewicz. That's that guy's name. They both have ERAs on 6. They both throw right-handed, so I can't really tell if they're going to play Dallas as a lefty. Might go in the bullpen, might demote one, might try to trade one for something else. I don't know, this is a humongous move for the Braves and win the pennant this year, if not win the World Series.
Yeah, so to be successful in the MLB, you almost have to have 4 guys that are just quality starters. Mm-hmm. And right now, this team has 3 guys that have sub 3.8 ERAs. And you look at what Dallas Keuchel's done over his last 5 seasons. He's only had 1 season where he was north of the 3.8 mark that we'll use for the Braves standards. So really, at worst, you're going to get your 4th starter on this team. In best case scenario, you're going to have a number 1 or a number 2. So it's a huge move for the Braves. But what you said earlier was with Jake Arrieta not necessarily pitching well, and you have Bryce Harper not playing well. Like, the Phillies have a lot of room to get better. Mm-hmm. Because these guys won't be that bad for the rest of the season. I don't necessarily think that it makes them, quote unquote, the team to beat, but it makes it one of the 2 teams that have a legitimate chance to not only win this division, but also potentially win the NL.
You hear another crazy Philly stat that I discovered earlier looking up Walknut or Bryce Harper stats?
Lay it on me.
Maikel Franco, third baseman, leads the league in intentional walks.
Wow.
With 13. He has 909, 240. That's been very consequential, just where you're at in the lineup. And you get on with the base opener, I guess.
Yeah.
13 times. One more time than Mike Trout
That's crazy.
And Bryce Harper.
Wow.
13th is Maikel Franco.
So we were all worried that Bryce Harper was just going to get a bunch of intentional walks, but really they're all scared of Maikel Franco.
Yeah. I think the mindset is put Franco on, get Bryce up. That's the easier out.
Yeah, you do ground ball.
Yep.
Wow. That's kind of crazy. That's
Ground
crazy.
ball, and pop fly to the right.
Yeah, but no, this was a huge move by the Braves. I mean, Braves knocked it out of the park. This is what they need. If you could put out a need for this team, this is what they need. They needed another starter, and they got it. So, wait and see. Craig Kimbrell, your man, signed a 3-year deal worth $43 million with the Cubs on a scale of 1 to 11. Where does this move the needle on the Cubs World Series dreams?
So wait, what's the needle at right now?
How much does this rank up from 1 to 11?
It's already going pretty fast. Hard to get much faster than this right now, so we'll just go like a 7 or an 8. We'll go 7, just how fast it's already going. Craig Kimbrell, whenever he is on, he is nails. If he's on, it's going to be 1, 2, 3 strikeouts, game over. But man, if he gets in stretches where he can't touch 97 and he can't find the strike zone, and he's a power pitcher, and he pitches to contact, pitches it in the zone, makes you swing at pitches, basically. And he makes contact, he has a lot of home runs, K throws the ball so hard. Really good breaking ball, though. I think if he can get command of that down, he's working on that, he can be a good pitcher for the entirety of the 3-year contract. I'm worried about it, though, for the 3 years. I think we'll be fine this year. We'll see in the playoffs because he started dying out of playoffs last year. I don't know how he's been prepared this year because he's missing 2 months now. Maybe he'll be fine in October.
At the right time.
Yeah, maybe he'll be fine in October. But get rid of fatigue, his usage. I'm kind of worried about it's good you guys did it. It is. Because you guys need bullpen arms. But I'm worried about it come September, October.
See, this is one of those things, though, that they could really just keep him out of the lineup for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Because, the Cubs bullpen, it's nothing to write home about. Definitely not. I mean, you have 2 guys that are relief pitchers on the Cubs that already have issued more walks than Kyle Hendricks. Kyle Hendricks has thrown 84 innings. So you have a lot of guys that cannot find the strike zone. And the Cubs, they have a lot of guys, like you said with Kimbrell, that are either on or they're off. And I look at relief pitchers in the MLB kind of like how wide receivers are in the NFL. You cannot have too many. Mm-hmm. If you have 4, you could take more.
You need a 5th one.
Yes. If you have 5, you could take a 6th one. Like, these guys, you have to have them. They're a necessity, especially as the season goes on. Guys get tired, guys get hurt. You have to have the next man up mentality. Craig Kimbrell, if he's on, he's phenomenal. And one thing, like we were talking, in 5 of this guy's last 9 seasons, he has a sub-2 ERA in 5 of those 9 seasons. So if you get the good Craig Kimbrell, basically you're playing 8-inning games for the Cubs, especially whenever you have guys that can go out there and actually, you would rather have a Pedro Strop go out there in the 8th inning than you would in the 9th. Mm-hmm. You'd rather have a Carl Edwards Jr. go out there in the 7th inning than you would in the 8th. You have guys in this Cubs, in the Cubs bullpen that you just have out of place right now that are forced into situations that they necessarily. You would rather have a big arm to be in and get you out of those tight spots. If Craig Kimbrell can come in and be that guy to get him out of the tough spots, to get the last 3 outs in the 9th, I think everybody else, their statistics are going to improve because they're not necessarily in those clutch spots. They won't have to face the 1 through 3 hitters in a lineup. They might get the, 7 through 9, or they may get, the 6 through 9, the 6 through 8. Like, they will be put in better spots. So for that alone, if Craig Kimbrell is successful with the Cubs, it's going to help the other relief pitchers not be in tight spots like they have been in the past. So I definitely like this move, not only for Craig, but for the rest of the bullpen, just knowing that you have the 9th inning locked down.
Yeah, no, like I said, I think it's going to be good for you guys this year. Probably next year, too. That 3rd year will be tougher, but that'll be last year.
The 3rd year is going to be a little hairy, but, they'll deal with that whenever the time comes.
Craig's actually the only pitcher who's ever made me, physically ill watching him throw a baseball last year and then the ALCS on my floor, banging the ground, and yelling for him to throw a strike.
See,
So good day for that.
yeah,
His base is loaded in Houston. Great for that.
every Cubs pitcher out of the bullpen has something that like I either love when it's working
Uh-huh.
or I hate when it's not. Like Pedro Strop, he's awesome when he's out there having fun, hats cocked sideways, just going crazy, an emotional head case, but it's going in the right direction. Whenever it's going bad, I'm sitting there screaming at the fact that his hat's cocked sideways, the fact that he's an emotional roller coaster, that he's not finding the strike zone. Craig Kimbrell, that little arm kick that he does on the side is going to be one of those things that I'm going to scream at the television. Like, why are you doing that? This is the dumbest thing ever when it's going
Throw a
bad.
strike!
Yes, but whenever it's going good, I'm going to be like, yeah, that's cocky. I love it. I love that. So, I mean, he fits in. He definitely fits in. All they're missing is like a Jonathan Papelbon. If that was it, they would have like the emotional roller coaster complete. It'd be a scary roller coaster to ride, that's for sure. So Latency, it is time. Each week you go out and you watch movies. Maybe not one, maybe not two, maybe not three. One week you had 5 for us. You review a movie for us. Latency, what do you got for us today?
This week I'm going to review X-Men Dark Phoenix. It's the final movie of the what turned out to be 7 X-Men trilogy. Jake, do you remember the X-Men movie that came out when we were in middle school with Hugh Jackman and Wolverine?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so, for people who don't know, those were trilogy movies, and then they remade them in the first class. Then they decided it'd be cool to keep the old series going on, to make another movie that made 2 separate timelines for the X-Men. So during the movie, you gotta remember that, okay, so this timeline, the old timeline is totally irrelevant, nothing matters anymore. They erased the entirety of the past. So the movie overall, basically, Jean Grey, played by Sophie Turner, who is Sansa from Game of Thrones, she kind of like inhales a star-like power that she's in outer space. It doesn't kill her, turns her into the Phoenix, which was a huge comic book storyline, I guess, back in the 80s or 90s. And the second time it's been done, I guess it's been done before in the third installment of the original trilogy, very poorly. This one was better. I got to see this movie in IMAX, so that was really cool. It was so loud, like you could feel like you're drinking vibrating in the couple next to you. If you had a chance to go see a movie in IMAX, just take the little longer drive to go see a movie in IMAX, I think it's worth it. The movie itself, though, it was okay. They introduced...
Don't you lay down whenever you watch an IMAX?
That's an OmniMax.
Okay.
Like all around you. An IMAX is just like a normal theater screen, but it's like 126 times bigger. So almost over 1 1/4 screen bigger than the normal movie theater.
Oh, wow.
Humongous. Huge. But for the movie, though, what they did was they introduced to you a new villain that you never seen before, wasn't in any trailer or anything. And you just gotta figure out, like, okay, what are these green alien guys doing? And they're shapeshifters. So they immediately take host of other people's bodies. So everything you see in the trailers from, like, a story perspective, it's just a lie. That's not what was going to happen in this movie.
Wow.
And
You see, I almost hate it whenever movies give you too much, though.
you know,
You like the curveball.
the couple was nice, but I would like to kind of thought it was right how the movie was going to take place.
It's kind of like false advertisement. Like, why would you portray it to be one thing and then people are excited to see that and then they show up and it's not that at all? And it might be a different storyline that people who didn't want to go see it because they saw what they saw in the previews, they would have went and seen it had they had known what it was about.
Yeah, and I kind of think about the way the movie Venom was made. Venom's kind of like an anti-hero. He's a good guy, but he's a bad person. So, like, while he wants to stop bad guys, he wants to eat the bad guys, and just basically be an asshole all the time. So that movie worked out with it. You know, it was a good guy battling with this bastard and stuff, and then becoming to be a good guy again. And this movie took that same path, but it just never really emphasized the whole effort to be good. It gets you all at once in the end, and that's really very satisfying. And I felt kind of cheated by the whole thing. I felt they took an easy way out. Because you see the first one, they're totally different. The first one kind of, I think, challenged the characters in the movie more. This one just basically just gave it all to them, and nothing they did over the first our half of the movie really mattered if you think about it in that kind of perspective. The entire thing they did to try to stop Jean from carrying the Phoenix was kind of irrelevant at the end.
Huh. That's kind of dumb.
Yeah, because she just gave up her power anyway.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert, yeah. Spoiler alert, Jean realizes she's being bad and gives her power to the bad guy. And then somehow she still keeps some of the power and beats the bad
It's like
guy.
you can have some of it, but not all.
Yeah, I feel like the people who are making this script got made out of the plot points, got to a point, got like 4 sections of really, really good stuff. It's okay, let's just kind of make all this stuff connect. And then they just drew a big line from the beginning all the way to the end and just jettisoned that. So they didn't have to write another 15 minutes of movie.
So what would you give it?
I'm going to give it... I feel like seeing an IMAX is paying into the school a little bit, but I'm going to give it 2.1 dips.
2.1 dips?
Yeah.
Only if you see it in IMAX.
Yeah. I haven't seen...
Because this seems like a movie that would just really trick you into thinking it's good if you see it in IMAX.
Yeah, it was really loud. It was really awesome to look at. In reality, it's probably a 1.7 dip movie. But since it's all up behind your grill, it's 2.1.
Okay. So, Leighton C., any bold predictions for this week of sports?
Yes, I think the Red Sox make some kind of move. With Sean Water right now, this offseason, J.D. Martinez can opt out of his contract. Mookie Betts need to be re-signed. We need to buy out guys at arbitration. And right now, the bullpen is really scuffling. So I think some kind of move is going to be made to show some of the plan for the next 2 or 3 seasons. Because right now, the next 2 or 3 seasons, we don't have a full roster. And they're pretty grim from the pitching standpoint. So
My bold prediction, I think that we're going to see 2 40-point games in the NBA Finals. One by Steph Curry in his last game in Oracle Arena. I think that he's going to go out there, he's going to score 40 points. And then Game 7, Kawhi Leonard is going to put on the most boring 40-point performance we have seen in our lifetime. And the Raptors will walk away as NBA champions.
we top 30 players, though.
I don't know if those 40-point performances will put him in the top 40 or top 30 players, maybe not even top 50. I would just say that Kawhi's number 2,
All right.
just like Skip would. And on that note, Dippers, for Drake, for Leighton C., as always, stay saucy.